Well, hello travelers. I see you have clicked on this video. Well, this video, my group is going to explain about type of immunity, different similarity, and AIDS. Let's go first to the type of immunity. Shazliana, take it away.
Assalamualaikum. So today I am going to talk about type of immunity. So first of all, immunity is divided by two, which is active immunity and passive immunity. So I am going to talk about active immunity first. Active immunity means that lymphocytes produce their own antibodies as a response to stimulation by the antigen. Active immunity is divided by two, which is natural and artificial. Same goes for passive immunity. But for natural active immunity, lymphocytes are divided by four, which is soldiers, intelligent, weapon factories, and memory cells. So the function of soldier cells that is to control and shape the immune system, alerting the immune system about an infection and deal with light infections such as inflammation. Example of this cell is macrophage and neutrophil. Next is intelligent cells such as dendritic cell. If the infection is serious, this cell will gather and tell about the infection and activate the weapon factories. The function of weapon factories such as B cell is to produce antibodies, which is permanent for the body. And then memory cells. Memory cells when deep slumber until second attack, which means if the same
Pathogen.
attack for the second time, it will awake and order coordinate attack, and the production of the antibody is almost immediately. That goes for natural active immunity. For artificial active immunities, an individual will be injected by a weaker or dead version of the infection. So this fake infection must be enough to annoy or trigger the immune system, so it will create memory cell for the infection. This method is actually very good for the body, so that the body will not go through the same risk of dying from the same pathogen such as measles. Individual is infected by actual pathogen, the lymphocyte will produce enough antibodies and immediately destroy this pathogen. Example of these vaccine are the Salk vaccine for poliomyelitis or BCG vaccine. Unlike active immunity, passive immunity does not produce its own antibodies, so that the antibodies are obtained from an external source such as breastfeeding, or the mother's antibodies diffused through the placenta into the blood flow of the fetus. That's for natural passive immunity. And for artificial passive immunity, this immunity is acquired through an anti-serum injection or serum that contains specific antibodies to fight specific antigens. The anti-serum injection gives immediate protection, but only for a short period of time. The example of anti-serum are anti-tetanus, anti-rabies, and anti-serum for poisonous snakes. For your information, anti-tetanus is actually made from tetanus toxoid suspension, and then it will be injected in a horse, and then the anti-tetanus from the horse serum is concentrated and purified, and then it will be injected into individual with high risk of tetanus, so that person will be protected from tetanus protection. Okay.
Thank you, Shazliana. Now it's my turn to tell you guys about the comparison of artificial active immunity and artificial passive immunity. Well, let's start from the similarities, shall we? Well, from the textbook, there's two. The first one is both of them protects the body from infectious disease. Obviously, you wouldn't want to inject your body with something that does nothing. The second one is both of them involve interaction between antibodies and antigen. Now let's talk about what are in those injections. Well, for AAI or artificial active immunity, it's a suspension of pathogen that are weakened, dead, or virulent. And this fact here, my friend, is the reason why anti-vaxxer exists. because they think it is dangerous to be injecting pathogen in their children. It is understandable, but you just have to trust the doctor or the professor or the scientist. While anti-serum or artificial passive immunity is a serum that contains specific antibodies that target specific pathogen. Vaccine is administered before being infected with the purpose to prevent the subject from being infected, while anti-serum given if there is a high risk of infection or immediately after being infected by a disease. Much like in video games where when you get infected, your character will inject something into his body. That being said, if you want a long-lasting but not immediate immunity, go for vaccine. But if you want immediate but short-term immunity, go for anti-serum. For artificial active immunity, second injection must be given to boost the level of antibodies above the level of immunity as a protection against disease, while artificial passive immunity is only given when the antibody level in the blood drops below the level of immunity and the patient is still infected by the disease. Now on to Daniel with his explanation about HIV and AIDS.
Thanks, Naqie. Now, we're going to talk about our last subtopic, which is HIV and AIDS. Human immunodeficiency virus or HIV is one of the incurable STI or sexually transmitted infection. While some of these STI are easy to treat once identified, others like HIV have no cure. Once you were infected, you have the virus for the rest of your life. That's why it's so incredibly important to practice safe sex in order to avoid contracting STI. First, let's take a look at how HIV works. It is passed from one person to another through blood, semen, seminal fluid, vaginal fluids, rectal fluids, and breast milk. Once contacted, it attacks important cell in your immune system called C4 cells or T cells. This cell help your body fight off infection and infection-related cancer. So, as HIV destroy them, it becomes easier for you to get sick or even die from common illnesses. If this left untreated and the number of C4 cells fall below a certain of threshold, HIV progresses to its final stage, which is AIDS. At this point, the immune system is so destroyed that it get more and more severe illnesses known as opportunistic infections. People with AIDS who don't get treatment often don't survive more than 3 years. In the late 1980s, an outbreak of HIV spread across the world, creating one of the most deadly epidemics. Since then, over 77 million people have become infected with HIV and over 35 million people have died from AIDS-related illnesses. But after a lot of researches and studies, scientists developed medicine for the treatment of HIV called ART. That's lower the amount of the HIV in the body, but still there is no way to get rid of HIV completely. But this medicine allow those who take it to live for nearly as long as someone who does not have HIV and has been shown to prevent infection in sexual partners. Scientists also have developed ways to prevent HIV infection from occurring in the first place. In addition to barriers like condom and dental dams, there is daily pill called PrEP for those at high risk for HIV that can be taken to reduce chance of contracting it from sex by over 90%. Because early symptoms of HIV resemble the flu followed by a long period of latency. The only way to know for sure if you have become infected is by getting tests. HIV tests work by detecting either antibody which are used by your body to fight off infection, or antigens, which are part of the virus. This usually can be detected starting 3 months after exposure, but more advanced tests can be performed if someone had high-risk exposure or are displaying early symptoms of HIV. Getting tests is the only way to know your HIV status. If you are HIV positive, you can start getting treated, which can improve your health, prolong your life, and greatly lower your chance of spreading HIV to others. Tests are confidential, quick, easy, and sometimes even free. They are performed using an oral swab or blood sample and can be administered by healthcare professional or through at-home testing kit. Results from rapid or certain at-home tests can be ready in as little as 20 minutes. That's all for me. I'm Muhammad Daniel. Thanks for watching.
That's the end of this video. We hope that this video is very helpful for you to learn about the type of immunity, the comparison, and the health issue related to immunity. Until next time, we'll see you at our school. Semesti.